Hi, sorry we got cut off. We were talking about the range of this function. And we have been talking about how the range, again, is the outputs or the y values, and it's how tall the graph is. And so if we look at this, I wrote in red here, the lowest point on the graph here is at -4, and then the highest point is at 0. So if we're going to write that down, that means that y has to be bigger than or equal to -4, and y has to be smaller than, less than, or equal to 0. And so then if I want to rearrange my compound inequality again, my conjunction, which I'm allowed to again because it's connected with the word and, I can flip this around and then smush them together. -4 is less than or equal to y is less than or equal to 0. That's my range. So if we take a closer look here, these inside parts look very similar. You see how it's a less than sign, the X, and a less than sign, less than Y, less than. As we move forward, we can just assume that it's going to be this insides. We might have to add or subtract and underline, but this can be your starting point. With the domain, it's always the X in the middle. With the range, it's always the Y in the middle, because it's always telling what's between these 2 points. Let's look at one more together. This one is a little bit different because it doesn't have endpoints. This keeps going. This is called a parabola. And at the end of the year, we're going to learn how to, or in the spring, we're going to learn how to graph these using the equation, which is pretty cool. This one is a little bit different than the first one because this graph, again, keeps going forever and ever and ever and ever. So when we're talking about the domain, again, the domain is the X value. How wide is this graph? If I go in and I try to draw the end here, I mean, it kind of looks like it ends here, but I know that this graph keeps going up and up and up, and it keeps going up and up and up this way. It's going to continually get wider and wider and wider. There is no end bound. There's no lowest point and no highest point on the x-axis. So when a graph keeps going in both directions like that, it's going to keep getting wider and wider. We say that the domain is all real numbers. The domain is all real numbers because it's going to keep getting wider and wider and wider and wider. The last one had a specific domain because there were endpoints. It stopped on the left and the right. The range then for this function is how tall the function is. In this case, it has a bottom. The range starts here at -2, but it keeps going forever. This graph is going to keep going up and up and up and up forever. So my range for this function is a special one. It's just saying that y has to be bigger than or equal to 2. It can't be smaller. 0 is not where the graph is for the y-axis, and -3 is not. It starts at 2 and it goes up. So that's what we say the range is. We're going to practice this a lot in class. Bye.